In today's video, I'm going to break down the Bitcoin and altcoin charts and reveal why I believe that Bitcoin and crypto are going a lot higher before this cycle ends. So make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get into the video. So the first thing I want to point out is that Bitcoin's at a very key level of support. We had these range highs from back here in December of 2024, and we've pretty much broken out and flipped that level into support. And you never want to get bearish at key levels of support, because we had our breakout and all we've done is we've come down for a retest ready to put in that next higher high. And we can see previously that we had that exact pattern play out here and here as well, where we literally saw breakouts from these areas and we came down to retest these areas into support before putting in that next higher high. And I believe that's the pattern that we are seeing right now. We're about to flip this into support and get our final push up for Bitcoin. So as traders and investors, you never want to get bearish at key levels of support, because this is the time to be buying and accumulating when we do see these dips, and it's not the time to be selling out of fear. Because as well, if we look at the 50-week moving average, we can see that it's just acted as support as well. Every time we've come down to this key level, we've actually seen a significant bounce from it, and that's what I'm looking at as well. And until we actually break the 50-week moving average, I'm going to continue to be bullish on Bitcoin going into the future. And we can see as well that we've been following a very key trend line right here. Let me get rid of the 50-week moving average. So we're still in an uptrend where we're putting in higher highs and higher lows. And until we actually start to break below this trend line and break below that 50-week moving average, I'm going to continue to be bullish, and I'm going to continue to expect Bitcoin to go much higher as well. And if we take a look at some of our Fibonacci levels, so if we go from the high to the low, we can see that Bitcoin actually came up to our first target, which was the 1.618 Fibonacci level at about 102,000. So we came up and we saw a bit of resistance at that level, got a rejection, but now all that's happened is we've actually come above that level and we're holding it as support, which suggests to me that we're going to go to at least the next level, being the 2.618 at 155,000, and my most bullish case would be reaching potentially to around that $200,000 mark. But until we've got to at least that next Fibonacci level at about 152,000, I don't see any reason to be taking profits if we're still holding above the 50-week moving average and we're still in an uptrend. Now let's go take a look at Ethereum, because I actually think Ethereum's chart is even more bullish. So when we take a look at Ethereum, we can see that we're pretty much holding this key level of support. So this level was resistance back in March of 2024, May of 2024, and also December of 2024, which was near the range highs of the previous cycle. And what we've done is we've broken out above that level, and we're now holding that as a level of support. And as long as we don't lose that level, it becomes more likely that this is going to become the floor that we do shoot off into price discovery. Now, when we zoom out a bit and we look at ETH's Fibonacci levels, it gives us some price targets for where it could head this cycle. So I think at a bare minimum, we'll reach the 1.618, which would put ETH at about 7,200. But for me, the more likely scenario is actually for Ethereum to run up to the 2.618, which would actually sit it at about $11,000. And this would be a great take profit area, in my opinion. And at a full extension, it could even potentially reach 15 to 17,000. But if we do get up to some of these higher Fibonacci levels up here, this is where I would be getting out and selling 95% of my bag, getting ready for the next bear market. Now, taking a look at the total free chart, this is all of our altcoins excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, which gives us a better idea of where the altcoins are right now. Now, while Bitcoin's broken out into new all-time highs, we can see by this chart that the altcoins are lagging behind. But we're actually printing a very bullish pattern, which is this ascending triangle. So we've pretty much just been consolidating within this triangle here, and we're literally at the point of a breakout. Now, we did get a slight wick below, but that was just with that mass liquidation event. But we're literally at the point of breaking out, and I'm going to expect this to explode to the upside And if we have a look at some Fibonacci targets, we can see that we could potentially be looking at a move for the altcoins to a $1.6 trillion market cap, potentially 2.52, or even a $3 to $4 trillion market cap. So I do think altcoins have a lot left to run. And we can see this as well just by looking at the total crypto market cap. We're still just trading within this channel here, which has been support all the way since back in 2017 when this started. So this is a multi-year trend line where we've just been bouncing from the highs to the lows, and I believe that we're at the point where we're about to make our next run up to the high, which would put the total market cap for crypto around 10 to 12 trillion, which is going to be extremely bullish. And I believe that most of those gains are actually going to come from the altcoin sector, because when we look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, we can see that we have broken into bearish market structure. And that is extremely bullish for your altcoins, because when this chart goes down, this is when your altcoins outperform Bitcoin and do 10, 20, 30x returns in a very small period of time. So what we can see is we had this kind of ascending channel, right, which we were trading in. And for those that have been following the channel, you would know that we actually called the top perfectly. So we got a breakdown, and we've now put in bearish market structure because we've put in a lower low, and we've just put in our first lower high, and we've got a rejection from that trend line, which was previously support. So now what I'm expecting is to get a bigger move down, and the level I would be targeting would be around 54%. So I do think we are going to come down to that level quick, potentially get a bounce from that level before making in our next leg lower. Now, for the Bitcoin dominance, I would be targeting at a minimum for us to come down to this 48% level. It's going to be a very strong level of support here, as we can see by the previous price history. But if we can actually get below that level, then I would be expecting us to come down to the range lows at around 40%, which could mean that we see a mega altcoin season where the altcoins just explode and make everyone extremely rich in a very short period of time. But that's essentially my outlook for the crypto market. So as I stated before, a lot of people are fearful right now, but you never want to be fearful when you're coming up to such key levels of support. And when I look at all of these different charts, they're all extremely bullish to me. They all look like they're about to go on massive breakouts to the upside. Like, we can just have a look what's happened to gold recently. Gold was forming a very similar pattern where it kind of had like this ascending triangle. It was consolidating within this range for multiple years, had a little fake out there, but then we finally got the breakout to the upside, and gold absolutely exploded in price, and just in a few short months over doubled, doing almost 120% move, which is crazy. And I do think now that gold is starting to top, I think we're going to get that rotation of money going from gold into risk on assets, especially with the Fed cutting interest rates as well. Now, when we zoom out a little bit, what I want to do is I actually want to pull some Fibonacci extensions. So when we go from the high to the low, we can see that gold actually did a full extension up to the 3.618. And this is how I was actually able to call the exact top for gold. So I do believe that we are going to see a bit of a cool down here, potentially to around 3,300. I don't think we're going to cool down too much more than that. But coming down to that level from the high, like, you'd be looking at about a 25% correction, which I do believe is quite reasonable for gold. And as we see gold kind of consolidate for a little bit, I think that a lot of that money is going to flow into crypto and into Bitcoin, and that's where you want to be positioned going forward. So it's not the time to be fearful. I would actually be accumulating altcoins right now while they are still at their lows before we get this mega altcoin season. And if you want to know exactly which coins that I'm invested in personally, you can purchase my top 10 picks. Just click on the link below and you can get access to that one. As well, if you'd like access to my free beginner's guide to learn how to trade or start investing in crypto, it's completely free. Just click on the link below. And if you'd like some one-on-one coaching with me, just send me an email and I'll get back to you guys. But besides that, that's all I've got for today's video. So make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.
Bitcoin, please go to moon. Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novokratse, we have bottom it out, Novokratse is bullish. Bottom it out, don't ever rise is bearish.
Bearish target 13 times though.
Novokratse is bullish.
Bitcoin could be at 40,000.
Let us go to moon.